Nonverbal Oak Park student Max can't thank his bus driver and bus attendant with spoken words, but he did work hard on this written card.
When my bus was in the crash, and you and your wife helped us and made sure we were all safe.
Dan and Chris Dunn moved to Sarasota from Illinois 2 years ago to be closer to Dan's mom. Up north, they owned a restaurant together, and Dan ran a Habitat for Humanity restore. Once here, like many, they were looking for a way to stay busy.
We wanted to do something part-time, and we saw the ad in the paper. When we first got the job, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, we said it's probably easier to get a job at the White House than it is to get a job with the schools.
But Oak Park student Max and several of his friends are sure glad they did. And in fact, they are lucky to be alive after their bus crashed on April 11th.
Because looking at that bus, there should have been no survivors.
We had about a dozen kids on the bus, and I was maybe a block away from the stoplight, and it was red. So I kind of eased off and just figured I'd cruise up to the light, and then about a half block it turned green, so I just started going, and got to the intersection, and I think the fella said he couldn't see us and didn't see us. Just, it was just a mistake. And I couldn't do anything. He just turned right at the intersection, and it just was like an explosion on the bus when it happened. It was like a bomb went off.
My immediate reaction was, oh my gosh, please don't let any of my kids be hurt extensively. And I really started thinking and praying to myself, I hope that there are no white sheets on the ground.
With the front of the bus completely gone, a gaping hole in the floorboard, and his wife bleeding on the ground, bus driver Dan Dunn said he was surprised to be alive.
After I realized that I was still here, I looked around, and she was laying on the floor, and she looked up, and Chris was on the floor, and the blood was rushing down her face, and the first thing she said was, because the smoke was just filling the bus, and we said, we just have to get these kids. She said, get these kids off the bus now.
I guess because I'm a mama, I mean, your kids come first, right? Mm-hmm.
The Dunns, married for 36 years, are parents of 3 and grandparents of 5. They got every single student off the bus and safely into the hands of helpful neighbors and first responders outside.
I saw the bus driver being pulled out on the stretcher, but he was conscious. I didn't see where his wife was, and then I looked to my left and immediately said all of my kids were on the grassy area with people who I didn't know, but they were trying to comfort them.
One of those students was Annabella Burns.
I think they're heroes because they helped and they do everything.
I felt very fortunate that everyone was so prepared. The bus driver and attendant were able to open the back door and get the kids off the bus quickly. They got the clear message they needed to vacate the bus. So they all went out the back door and got to the curb safely if the bus was on fire. Even though they were hurt in the accident, to know that they were able to still attend to the needs of the kids, they were heroes in my eyes.
I don't feel like a hero.
How about you, Dan?
Didn't even think about it. You just wanted to help the kids. You really get attached to them, and they were crying, bleeding. It makes you just want to, just thinking about them.
I don't know. I told my daughter this morning, I said, I haven't even thought about the accident, because I said, I don't know if it's perfectionism or what, but I didn't want to think about what I could have done better or what I should have done.
You guys feeling okay?
This couple, whose daily routine starts out with a prayer.
Every day as we're on our way to pick the kids up, we just pray protection for the bus and the kids, and healing for the kids.
had those prayers answered, as thankfully, although several students were sent to the hospital, not one was critically injured.
I think the action they did, I don't say this lightly, but I really think it saved their life for that day.
And even though they are headed to Missouri to live closer to family, a plan in the works way before the bus crash, you'll never guess what they'll be doing part-time once they get there.
We're actually gonna drive in Missouri.
Missouri's gain is Sarasota's loss, as you can bet their students will miss them. Candace McEllia reporting.